Lately on YouTube, I've seen several different videos with titles such as what is the best 3 Bibles versions to use, what is the best 5 Bible versions to use, and different things like that. And so I felt compelled to make this video in response. And personally, I would not recommend any of the modern versions of the Bible to anybody. I would recommend the use of the King James Bible. That's the only Bible that I would recommend that anybody use. The dirty little secret that the folks pushing the modern Bibles don't want people to know is that out of all of the Greek manuscripts that are out there, ancient texts, the King James Bible is underwritten by more than 6,000 manuscripts. And there are some that are reported to be from a Greek monastery that are being examined right now, and that number may soon go up to something like 7,000. They are said to be majority text as well, and that's what the vast majority of manuscripts are called: majority text, received text, Textus Receptus, and a bunch of other names. But your modern versions are mainly based on 3 manuscripts, 90% from the one that's in the Vatican called Vaticanus, and the rest from mainly from the other 10%, mainly from Sinaiticus. And then there's Alexandrinus, and then there's maybe about 50 scraps that agree with the modern versions. And that includes all of them. All of the modern versions are either all or in part translated from these corrupt Alexandrian texts. And they in no way agree with the King James. If you do a comparison, side-by-side comparison, there's many. Most of your modern versions, they either have approximately 17 whole verses missing. If they're not missing, they footnote them and say that they shouldn't be there. And hundreds of phrases and individual words that are missing, and oftentimes that change the complete meaning of the verse. And Vaticanus and Sinaiticus both, there's some question as to their authenticity and as to their purported age. Vaticanus is white. It looks like a piece of computer paper, just as white as it can be, and it's obviously been overwritten, all kinds of stuff written in the margins. It's just a mess. And then Sinaiticus, a man named Tischendorf is said to have discovered it in a Greek monastery in the Sinai Desert. And Tischendorf stole part of Sinaiticus, and he took it and he sold it to the Germans, and it's now in Germany, and it's just as white as a sheet, just as white as a piece of computer paper. But the rest of it, it was reported to be white by somebody who examined the rest of it, and then after Tischendorf acquired the rest of it, all of a sudden it became browned and looked aged. But it looks like somebody has taken coffee or tea and stained it to make it look old. And so these modern versions are corrupt versions, and I mean, that's the NIV, the RSV, that's the ESV, that's the New King James, that's the Modern English Version, and of course the New King James and the Modern English Version, they are purported to be from majority text like the King James, but in verse after verse after verse, they change the wording, and it means something different from what's in the King James. And if you'll go and you'll look at the note that's attached to it, you'll find that it will it'll say like NA/UBS, which NA is Nestle-Aland, UBS is United Bible Society, And those Greek compilations, and I think Nestle Aland's on like their 27th or 28th edition. The new versions are translated from that, and the verses that are changed in the New King James and in the Modern English Version and other versions that claim to be from the majority text, but they take those particular verses that they've changed from the corrupt Alexandrian text. And so I wouldn't recommend you use anything but the 1611 authorized King James translation of the Bible. All the other all the modern English versions, everything that's been translated since the King James, they're nothing but junk. They're corrupt. They're not the Word of God. They are perversions of the Word of God. So I recommend the King James. It's stood for more than 400 years. Many souls have been saved from preaching the scriptures contained in it. It is the perfectly preserved Word of God. The inspiration of God came through in perfect preservation. It is the inerrant, infallible, perfectly preserved Word of the living God to the English-speaking peoples of the world.